another game of Monopoly. He and Ken are drinking sodas and talking. They heard that there was a meeting tomorrow for the Philadelphia Conservative Coalition at Independence Hall, which would include an awesome dinner, and even though it disappointed his father, he approved for JR to buy tickets for the dinner. Not so much for the politics. By 7:45 p.m. Central Standard Time, at Springfield, Christine is entertaining friends as her father is sleeping in the master bedroom, sleeping off his drunk so he can get over his hangover for the 5:30 takeoff for Nacogdoches. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, JR and Ken are watching the LDS film The Lamb of God. It's obvious that Ken is working on JR. On the morning of August 14th at 4 a.m., JR goes downstairs to the mansion library and starts reading out of Romans 7. By 6:30 a.m., JR and Ken are watching once again the LDS video, The Lamb of God. Ken hopes he can work on JR, eventually converting. In 2001, it would work. At 7:15 a.m., JR and Ken are reading the Bible. Ken had read the Book of Mormon earlier this morning when he got up. They were having a good time with camaraderie. Meanwhile, Dave goes by Limo Philly to put down his deposit of $1,200 to pay for the limo from historic St. George United Methodist Church going back to the hotel and then taking JR's rental car to go back to the mansion. By 7:20 a.m., in the hotel in Virginia Beach, Betsy and Elizabeth are listening to some sacred music songs by Barbara Mandrell. Have a little talk with Jesus, and there's power in the blood of the Lamb. 8:35 a.m. JR and Ken are enjoying a breakfast of cinnamon rolls. Claude informs them that they have to return the keys for the mansion in the slot by 5 p.m. on the next day. The suite at the Philadelphia Hilton was already reserved for them. By 12:30 p.m., JR gets back from attending a baptism at St. George Methodist Church in Philadelphia with Karen Crowder to find Ken napping. He decides to call his mother, saying that he misses her. He's anxious for a chance to return to Virginia Beach and see her and his daddy. By 4 p.m., in Independence Hall, the Philadelphia Conservative Coalition meeting had been going on for 2 hours. Constance Winton, the club president, had given a message of relief that the budget battle was finally over. But now the conversation turned to NAFTA. Now I know some of your labor people may be opposed to NAFTA, but please listen to me. This could create jobs everywhere, she said. I can take this back to my college and do something about it, JR said. You're not a citizen of Philadelphia. Wait a minute. You're J.R. Hendrick. And and your dad supported Bill Clinton. My friend, JR, he voted for Bill Clinton, Ken said. But he knows now that that was a colossal mistake. Meanwhile, in Nacogdoches, Jim is relieved that the rig is functional, barely. He is now meeting with the Railroad Commission about tapping up regulations to make rigs more safe and structurally intact. By 5:20 p.m., JR and Ken are back at the mansion after attending the reception at Independence Hall for the Philadelphia Conservative Coalition. JR goes straight to his room, but Ken asks him to go back downstairs and play 10,000. 4:20 Central Standard Time. Back at the ranch, Jim calls Claude. He says that he tells his best friend that he can't hardly wait for him to come back to the ranch. By 5:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, at the ranch, after an argument with her father, Christine rushes upstairs and calls Betsy. "I hate him, Mama," Christine said, crying. "I swear I hate him." "Is he drinking?" Betsy demanded. "Yes, 2 beers, and he's on a tear." "Oh, Christina." He's probably under pressure from the Railroad Commission, and so he came back and started drinking. "That's no excuse for him to dump the blame on me. He was the one that decided to let JR go on this crazy vacation." "Look, Christine, I know that Kyle is blackmailing you, so out with it." "No, Mom, he's not blackmailing me." Elizabeth Swain, the grandmother, took the phone. "I bet you, girl, he is. I mean, after all, he got into torturing you after he caught you smoking in my bedroom. Don't you forget that this is my ranch." 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. JR is watching a gospel program in the mansion home theater when his cell phone rings. "You ready for the grand tour of St. George's tomorrow?" Brad said. "You better believe it. Hallmark of the final victory tour," JR said. "Well, then, this isn't all I've got to talk to you about. I met Karen Crowder." "No!" "Video conferenced her today. Had to bribe your sister to get your little book at the ranch." "Oh, no!" "Hey, bro, relax. JR, don't be such a whiner." "We video conferenced at a Star Trek convention she was at in Philadelphia, and I asked her to bring back a replica of the Enterprise D." JR slammed a magazine on the table. "Ah, I should have known. It figures." "Hey, can't you relax? I haven't been interested in anyone since Lynette broke up with me last semester." "Yeah, I know. She graduated, and now she's getting a master's degree in counseling at the University of Texas Permian Basin." "Don't get any ideas, JR. She won't see me." By 9:25 p.m., after JR had received an upsetting phone call from Fred. From Brad. An upsetting phone call from Kyle. Ken had enough and told Claude that they would be checking in the Hilton Hotel. They would still use the mansion afterwards and to leave a key. But they would not be at the mansion before long because Dave had mentioned he wanted to go home sometime that afternoon in the house he was staying in Philadelphia. And now, the final victory tour. 2:55 a.m. Sure. No, January 15th. Okay. 6:30 a.m. At a Hilton Hotel in Philadelphia, two female managers are talking. What are the benefits of a federal LLC? A younger female manager asked her supervisor. It means you get to choose how you get to be taxed. As a company, my husband and I decided to form an S corporation after he got his law degree at Columbia and I got out of grad school. Meanwhile, in his hotel room, Ken has an icy conversation with Brad. What do you think you're doing? To Karen Crowder. That's JR's girl. She's just a friend, Brad said. What's going on? JR asked, coming in with his boxer shorts and shirt. Get dressed. This is the first day of the rest of your crazy life, Ken said. Dave Smith walked in. Let's do this. Dave, Brad said, stay at the hotel and call for the limo when JR says they're ready to leave the church. Where's the car? Outside, Ken asked. Outside, JR said. Karen says the limo is meeting us at Independence Hall. 7:45 a.m. Outside the hotel, JR talks to Ken. Get in my car, buddy. Let's go see some history. They drove off with Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer playing on the radio. Are you serious? Ken asked. Do I have to go to this church? Few friends meeting friends, Ken. Karen wants to get to know you. Besides, when was the last time when you were in a church of history? I don't like it. I should be in a church here. You said you were in Karen. This is a chance to get to know Karen. Now cool it. The JR's rental car stopped at Independence Hall. There's a limo. JR said. I don't know about this, Ken said. Just one time, JR said. 7:50 a.m. The limo stopped at Independence Hall. There's the limo. Rock and roll, Ken said. Let's do this, JR said. What's your name? JR asked the chauffeur. Casey, the driver said. Caught aback. Casey, take us to the historic St. George United Methodist Church. Praise Jesus, Casey said. I go to that church. Yeah, and there's a revival going. Yeah, and there's a revival going on with a Reverend William Child. He's from Lubbock, Karen said. First United Methodist in Lubbock? He's the senior pastor there.